And now, another major production.
I'm about to tell you what the real is. Deep down inside, you got to feel it. Emotions have the most number of killings. Pay close attention to your feelings. I'm about to tell you what the deal is. And when I'm talking, all I'm hearing is some crickets. Hurry honey, run and get your ticket. Just getting money, it's not always the business. Forget the $1 million mission. Sometimes I just want to go fishing instead of physically grinding in the trenches. Finding me using my knowledge, intuition. Chaka not talking while he's so distant. Chaka be talking but they don't listen. He's sitting, his brain pumping like a piston. I've been chasing the twilight, now I've been bitten.
Shows how little you know politics.
Choose your destiny.
Go right. Go forward. You'll never ever back.
I want to hear your thoughts.
Good evening, my little one. I shall make you psychotic.
Mommy, what does psychotic mean?
Hey, how y'all doing out there? How y'all feel? Remember, an educated public cannot be controlled. Learn to be active. The views and events expressed here are totally whacked and are not necessarily the views of anyone. Come on, stars. Bien, 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 bien. Podemos ayudarnos más? Sí, se puede. And don't take my word for it. Look that mess up. Feeling invisible. You know, it really sucks to feel invisible. You know, sometimes the stuff we talk about on this show is things that I aspire to do or whatever. Like, you know, just because I'm saying something is supposed to be done or whatever doesn't necessarily mean I'm doing it. You know, it's something that I strive to do or to be or whatever. So, like, feeling seen is something that we all can do for each other. Help each other to feel seen, you know, because feeling invisible is a terrible feeling. You know, it's like no one cares. No one sees you. You're struggling alone. You're suffering alone. You feel like you're on the planet alone. You know. You know, I have a saying that I say, you know, I can't complain. I say that all the time. I can't complain. And then the next line is no one cares. You know, no one wants to hear your complaints, you know. They don't like, it's like people ask you, how is things, you know, how's it going, you know, how you feel, whatever, what's going on in your life. But they ask you that, but they don't really want you to go into details about how your life really is. You know what I mean? They're going to immediately turn you off. You know, they're going to immediately stop listening. They're going to immediately like try to get out of the conversation. Most people anyways. So, you know, they don't really want to hear, you know, like, hey man, I'm struggling with bills. Like, you know, I'm just making ends meet. Like, you know, I got to freaking figure out how I'm going to pay for this or whatever. Like, You know, I got this pain in my back. It's been getting me, you know. They don't want to hear that. You just say, I'm fine, everything is good. You know, that's the answer. Because that's what everyone's looking for, you know. And then you can get on with the conversation and talk about whatever. You know, I think showing that you care or whatever, just listening is a way to help people to feel seen so they don't feel invisible. You know, there's an epidemic of despair, you know, there's an epidemic of depression that's happening, you know, there's a bubbling of rage underneath, you know. And you know, we have a lot of tools to try to keep us from paying attention to those things, you know, distractions. Welcome distractions. We want them, like sports, scrolling on social media, you know, stuff to get us off of our thoughts about ourselves and our own situations, you know. But at the end of the day, it doesn't really help, right? You know, once the sports go off, once the internet, once you get off of the social media or whatever, it all comes back to you, you know. I think a lot of us don't even want to have that quiet time, you know, that quiet space to be alone with our own thoughts, because we don't want to hear them. We don't even want to hear our own troubles. Like, we don't even want to hear them about ourselves, you know. We do as much as we can to keep from hearing those thoughts and whatever, you know. Play music while we're sleeping, stuff to keep our mind from going into that direction. Whatever, man. I feel like I'm rambling. I guess I'll come back to it. Feeling Invisible is the name of the show today. And I'm feeling a little under the weather. So where do we go from here is the question. Let's read some headlines and start off there. Associated Press. I'm sharing. Okay. Wait, let me make sure y'all can hear me. I really feel like a total idiot when I'm up here and just talking to myself, literally. Total idiot when I'm up here. Headlines. Let's see. The top headline, Associated Press, it says, Colorado judge finds Trump engaged in insurrection, but rejects constitutional ballot challenge. So it says a Colorado judge has found that former President Donald Trump engaged in insurrection in the January 6, 2021 attack on the U.S. So what does that mean? Does that mean that some of the states can leave him off the ballot? What does that mean? Does it mean nothing? More politics. It says Speaker Johnson says he'll make 44,000 hours of January 6 footage available to general public. Another one says judge rejects Trump's request for mistrial in his New York civil fraud case. It says DeSantis, Haley, and Ramaswamy get personal and friendly during family discussion in Iowa. Let's see. Defeated Virginia candidate whose explicit video surfaced says she may not be done with politics. Yeah, these days. Back in the day, something like that would definitely kill your political career, but things have changed. It says in India, 40 workers are trapped in a tunnel for a 7th day as rescuers wait for a new drill. Ooh. I can only imagine. That would be so terrible. You can't get me down there to do that kind of work. I'm not that guy. The whole time, I'm claustrophobic anyways, and I'm asthmatic. The whole time I'll be like, man, I'm gonna die. I can't do this. I quit. I'm not doing this. Says Joe Burrow is out for the rest of the season with torn ligament in his right wrist. Sorry, y'all. I don't really care. Sean Diddy Combs and singer Cassie settled lawsuit alleging abuse one day after it was filed. So maybe all she wanted was the money. I'm gonna talk about this a little bit just because. But yeah, I have something on this. But like, yeah. So she filed a lawsuit, and the next day she settles. She said she was gonna tell her story, or get it out there in the world. I guess not. I guess Diddy hit her up and was like, how much? She's like, gave him a number, and then he probably wired the money straight to her bank account or whatever. Done deal. Sealed. We don't need to hear about these stories. Diddy is like, we don't need the world to hear about this stuff. Let's move on. How much? We know you just want to make some money. This one, it says the UN stops delivery of food and supplies to Gaza as communications blackout hinders coordination. Yeah, I saw some clips about how like the ones who are trying to deliver the food and stuff, they feel like they're getting hindered on purpose. Like, there's the powers that be is making it hard for them to try to help these people. And the running out of gas and fuel is what's causing them to not be able to run any kind of, basically anything. The hospitals can't run, and the communications can't run. So literally in the dark. It makes it easier for you to do a propaganda campaign when you can't even get information from the ground. This one, it says a Texas woman convicted of killing pro cyclist Mo Wilson is sentenced to 90 years in prison. I don't know anything about this one. 90 years? When do they ever do that? Hold on, let's look at this just because I don't know anything about it. Texas woman convicted of killing pro cyclist Mo Wilson is sentenced to 90 years in prison. Like, wow, they never give people that much time. That never happens. Pictures from the courtroom. Let's read. By Jim Vertunu, November 17, 2023. It says, Austin, Texas. A Texas jury on Friday sentenced a woman to 9 years in prison for the May 2022 shooting death of rising professional cyclist Anna Marie Mo Wilson, in a case that sent investigators on a 43-day international search for the killer. Automatically thought it was a guy. Yeah, apparently it wasn't. Jurors deliberated for just over 3 hours before delivering the sentence for Caitlin Armstrong, who investigators say tracked Wilson to the apartment where she was staying and shot her 3 times. They took only 2 hours on Thursday to convict her of murder. That sounds personal right there. It says, as a family, we believe justice has been served. Eric Wilson, the victim's father, said after the sentencing, there really are no winners here. This is not a time for celebration, but a time for prayer, a time to pray for our family, our friends, and the Armstrong family and their friends. He added, while the family's lives have changed forever, with this challenging ordeal now behind us, we are ready to move forward and continue our healing. And we would do this with Mariah's strong, determined, gentle, and kind spirit, Wilson said. Prosecutors said Armstrong gunned down the 25-year-old Ann Wilson in a jealous rage. The cyclist had briefly dated Armstrong's boyfriend several months earlier and went swimming and to a meal with him the day she was killed. Oh, that makes sense. Armstrong's defense attorneys had urged the jury to consider something less than life in prison. Under current Texas law, Armstrong 35 will be eligible for parole in 30 years. So she can possibly do 30 years and get out. So she's, how old is she? The other chick was 25. Did it say her age? So she's clearly in her 20s. So, oh, 35. Okay, my bad. So, dang, she's a solid 10 years older than the other chick. How old was her boyfriend? So she could be 30. She could be 65 years old when she gets out of prison, possibly if she gets out on the first eligibility for parole. So I guess her life isn't over. So I guess the 90-year sentence was really a treat. Was really a leniency deal. So she was jealous. What did they say? The cyclist had briefly dated Armstrong's boyfriend several months earlier and went swimming into a meal within the day she was killed. So she had dated her before. She had dated old girl's boyfriend before. So she was an ex. So apparently she, went hanging out with them, her ex, and the present girlfriend was like, hell nah, I'm going to kill that bitch. And she did. I don't know, man. As we get caught into our feelings and we make bad decisions, she's a young lady. Like, she could have moved on. Like, shit, if the chick wants her or he wants her or whatever the hell, just let them be together and move on with your damn life, Like, it's not that serious, man. People come and go out of your life, I think these kids now, they have this thing about being disrespected. It's so intense. I guess it's because of the social media and everything is so public. So everybody knows about it. And then that part is where they really have a problem with it. It's like, everyone's going to know about this. So I have to do something. Like, they have to keep their respect or whatever. Like, it's like, because all their friends and everybody on social media is going to be like, oh, you're just going to let that go. People, y'all, stop letting these people they don't even care. Like, they latch on to something negative regardless. Like, they're going to latch on something negative, but they're going to forget about it in 2 weeks, like a day, a couple hours. They're going to forget about it, move on to the next negative thing that they can latch themselves on so they won't freaking be able to focus on their own personal miserable ass life. But these kids really take it serious. I saw a story about a kid. What was it? It was like a fight. A fight happened. Damn, I wish I could remember because I could just pull this up. But it was a fight happened, and weeks later or a month later, the person came back and shot and killed the person that they had to fight with. Like, apparently they lost the fight and they were embarrassed. And like I say, these kids, they hold on to this stuff. They really do. And it's like, dang, man, month later, you're still mad about losing the fight to the point where you want to go kill the person. Like, you was holding on to that and waiting for your opportunity to kill this person behind a fight. I don't remember it being like that maybe it was, and I just don't, I wasn't into, like, I'm more aware of things now because I'm older, but maybe it was like that when I was younger, but I just feel like it's different now. I think that the internet has brought things up a whole notch where people want to get this revenge. They want to hold on to their pride, their ego, really, really sad times for these kids. They have the most stuff available to them. They have so much stuff that we didn't have when we were young. And they instead of like appreciating it, it has made their lives more miserable. It's really sad. Let's read some more. It says, the loss of Mariah Wilson is a tragedy, and our hearts go out to the Wilson family and the family of our client, Caitlin Armstrong, defense attorney Rick Kofer said. After Armstrong was sentenced, sobs could be heard coming from the area of the courtroom where her family sat. Her father stood to look at her and wiped tears from his eyes. Members of Wilson's family exchanged hugs with each other following the jury's announcement. Her mother, Karen Wilson, delivered a statement directly to Armstrong. When you shot Mariah in the heart, you shot me in the heart. All the people who loved her pierced their hearts, she said, looking at Armstrong as she left the witness stand. Armstrong did not appear to return her gaze. A Vermont native and former alpine skier at Dartmouth College in New Hampshire, Anna Wilson was an emerging star in a pro gravel and mountain bike racing. She was visiting Austin ahead of a race in Texas where she was among the favorites to win. Armstrong tracked Wilson to the apartment where she was staying through a fitness app and shot her 3 times, twice in the head and once through the heart, investigators said. Damn, that was like she thought that completely out and premeditated. Twice in the head and once in the heart. She wanted to make sure she was dead, and then the shot through the heart was a statement. It's like you hurt my heart or whatever. You stabbed me in the heart, so now I'm gonna shoot you in the heart. Like, you broke my heart, I'm gonna break yours. Like, I don't know, man. It's crazy. It's like, it seems like, I mean, if she was that angry, what, she would shoot the dude or whatever, like the boyfriend or whatever. Like, I don't know, man. I don't understand that way of thinking at all. So it said she tracked her through a fitness app. So there you guys go. All of this technology that y'all have, everybody got to have that damn watch on. Everybody got to have it. You know, it's like you ain't cool if you don't have that freaking Spy Kids gear on. You know, and so it's dangerous. This stuff is sharing your real-time information, your real-time location. So maybe if she didn't have the app on, maybe this chick wouldn't have been able to track her down like that. You know, but hey, what do I say? What do I know? You know, if it wasn't for the app, maybe she would have found a different way. Just hang out outside of her house and wait for her to come home or whatever. Like, but still, man, you guys are sharing your real-time location. People can come and touch you. That's not cool. And too much posting on social media. One thing I noticed about us now, it's like, and it's not even just the kids that's doing this. People of my age are doing this, where they post all of their updates, and then, like, you know what they did and where they went, like everything. You know everything, like, just by scrolling the social media. Like, wow, man, that's too much information to share with people. Now, I have many social media accounts and I share stuff, but you're not going to know where I'm at, you know, at real time. Like, and I don't have anybody that's trying to get me or whatever, but I just don't feel, I think like some things need to be kept private. First off, you don't need to post everything, like everything you ate, every place you went to go eat, you know, everything you did, like, you know. And that's part of the depression that's happening with people. It's like they're looking at other people's lives and they're like, oh, their lives are so wonderful or whatever. So I'm depressed now because my life doesn't look nothing like this. Well, I'm going to compete with the other person by posting all of the stuff I do, every drink I drink and all of this to make it seem like my life is so wonderful. I think that a lot of the people that post like that are really miserable because the happy people don't have time to be posting, like living in the moment. You don't have time to be taking pictures of every damn thing, you know? Oh, this is going to get them. This is going to stun on them. This is going to get a bunch of likes or whatever the hell. Like, when you're in the moment and you live in life, then you're not thinking about that. That's not the way you're thinking, you know? One picture, you know? Oh, what do I say? I mean, you know, I'm just a guy. Anybody listening to me anyways. Let's read on. It says, I would have done anything to stand in the way of that bullet, Karen Wilson told juries on Thursday at the start of the punishment phase of the trial. She did not deserve a death like that. Wilson added that from the day she was born, she and Wilson had a force in her. She lived as if every day was her last day, and she lived it so fully. She never wasted any time. It's as if she knew her life would be short. Armstrong did not testify on her own behalf during the trial. This is sad, man. It's kind of making me feel really sad. Like I'm about to cry and shit because this is a young person. Like, life is over, like over some jealous bullshit, man. Fucking probably was going to break up with the dude next month or next year, whatever. Anyways, like when we're young, we think everything is so like life or death. Like we think it's so important. And that's why I try to talk to my kids about things. And I'm like, you're gonna feel different about this, in a little while. Right now, this feels really important, but as time goes on, you're not gonna feel the same way. Don't make no life or death decisions. Don't make no extreme decisions off of some temporary ass feelings. It says Caitlin Cash, the friend who found Wilson's body and tried to perform CPR, told jurors she had texted Wilson's mother earlier that day with a photo of her starting a bike ride with a note, "Your girl is in safe hands here in Austin." "I felt a lot of guilt not being able to protect her," Cash said. "I fought for her with everything I had." Armstrong's younger sister, Christina, had told jurors that her older sister is not a bad person. "She's such a special person," Christina Armstrong said before looking at Caitlin Armstrong. "I've always looked up to you. She's always cared for other people." Caitlin Armstrong's Jeep was seen near the apartment where Wilson was staying around the time she was shot, and bullet casings found near Wilson's body matched the gun Armstrong owned. Armstrong briefly met with the police before selling her vehicle and using her sister's passport to fly to Costa Rica. Damn, so she not only did she premeditate this murder, but she tried to go to Costa Rica. I don't think, is there extradition from Costa Rica to the United States? I don't know, they probably do actually. She spent more than $6,000 on a nose job there and changed the color and style of her hair to evade authorities before she was arrested at a beachside hostel. And investigators said, damn, she really went far. That's probably why they gave her the 90 years. All of this, it's like when you do a killing in a rage moment or whatever is one thing, but then when you go and you sell your car, you use your sister's passport to fly to Costa Rica, you spend $6,000 on a nose job, change your hair color. That's like you're trying to get away with this. And that's when you try to cover up murders and you try to like do things like this, that's when they really throw the book at you. So that's probably why they gave her them 90 years. Maybe she really think she used her own damn gun. It was the dude who was dating her ex, and she definitely had to know she was going to have connections to it. How did she think she was going to? I guess that's how you think when you're thinking criminally. You're like, you think you're going to get away with it. Everybody thinks they're going to get away with stuff. It says Armstrong again tried to escape authorities during an October 11th medical appointment outside of jail. She faces a separate felony escape charge. Damn. So they took her to a medical appointment outside of jail and she tried to escape. Is that it? Man, it's crazy stuff be happening in Texas, right? Texas. Seems like, I don't know, maybe it's because I'm from here. It's like, seems a lot of stuff happens here. Do they have a connecting story with this? I guess not. What a sad story, man. I feel bad. I feel bad for the person who died, and I feel bad for the person who did the killing too. Like she wasn't in her right mind. She made a bad decision. Man accused of kidnapping 9-year-old girl from New York Park is charged with the R word. Mississippi man had ID in his pocket when he was buried without his family's knowledge. Texas man executed for 2001 killing of a 5-year-old girl abducted from a store. Yeah, we don't want to hear about stories like that. Those are the ones that make you want to go hug and kiss your kids and be like, you don't do nothing outside of my sight. What do we want to go into? I saw another little story that caught my eye. Okay, let's see. Hold on, y'all. Let's do one more story that caught my eye. this one. Because is this the one that I covered before? Man accused of abducting and beating woman over 4-day period pleads not guilty. I want to say this is a story that I covered. What is it? Is it a video to this? Let's play it. Video shows Akron police rescue abducted woman. Is this the one? I think this is the one. Akron police rescued a woman in Ohio who was allegedly abducted.
There's no one else up there?
No.
Where do you live at, dear?
No, this is a different story. Damn. So how often does this kind of thing happen? You had the chick locked up in a garage?
Come on down with your hands up!
Cause see, I thought this was the other one where the guy, it was his baby mama actually, and he had her chained to a bed, like for God knows how long, and she was screaming or whatever. The neighbors called the police. The police came in there, had to use like freaking heavy machines to release her. The guy told her to come clean up or something like that, help him clean up or something like that. And then he locked her, chained her to the bed. So that's a whole different story. So how often does this kind of thing happen? So it says, friend had someone in their outdoor garage without their knowledge. 23-year-old, hold on, close this. 23-year-old woman was found after residents called the police and said a friend had someone in their outdoor garage without their knowledge. So we used somebody else's garage?
No. William, come on out. William, come on now. Akron police. Hey, face that way. Just keep coming. Watch your step. Right there. You get that? There's a female in there. Come on out here. How do you know this girl? I just met her. When?
31-year-old was arraigned Thursday and charged of kidnapping, felonious assault, abduction, and unlawful restraint.
Hello. Last night?
Let's show up.
Oh, that's such a game.
You okay walking? I couldn't see you there.
Dude must be on drugs. He said he just met the chick? Dang. Says relatives said she suffered facial fractures and a brain bleed, a broken arm, and finger injuries. Dang. Be careful who the hell you're meeting on Tinder or whatever, who you freaking talking to at a bar and shit like that. Like, some crazy ass people out here. Yeah, man, I kind of stay to myself. I'm scared of people, I ain't gonna lie. And when I say people, I'm really talking about women. They scare me. Akron, Ohio. An Ohio man accused of abducting and beating a woman while she was confined for 4 days in a residential garage last month pleaded not guilty during a court hearing Thursday. William Mazingo, 33, was arraigned on charges of kidnapping, felonious assault, abduction, and unlawful restraint. He has been held without bond since October 16th, arrest due to a parole violation. The 23-year-old Chardon woman was found after a resident called Akron police and said a friend had a woman in their outdoor garage without their knowledge and that the woman appeared to be injured. Relatives have said she suffered facial fractures, brain bleed, broken arm, and finger injuries. Authorities have said the woman knew Mozingo, but not very well. The alleged abduction and attacks occurred after he offered to drive her home, but instead took her to the garage. Body cam video of the arrest was released this week by police. It shows officers using a ladder to help the woman climb down from a partially hidden hole in the ceiling. She has bruises on both eyes. A voicemail message left Thursday for Mozingo's attorney was not returned. Yeah, so okay, he offered her a ride. So, and that's another thing I tell my daughters, be very aware of like where you are and which directions you're going in. It's like you get into a car and it's like you're supposed to be driving you home or wherever, and you're not paying attention. And it's like, wait a minute, where are we going? Like, my house is that way. Like, why are we going this way? Like, type of thing. Like, we're always looking down on nowadays people are now always looking down at their phone, or they're not even aware. Like, people don't even care. Like, they don't know what street they're on or which direction they're going in and shit. Like, but damn, be careful who the hell you freaking get a ride from, I guess. Like, supposed to be giving her a ride home. He took her to the garage. Not even his garage. I don't know, crazy people. Can't trust anybody. It's really sad. Sad times when you can't trust anyone. I don't know. Try to look for the subtle signs in them not being normal. But people probably look at me and think I'm crazy and weird, so they probably think I'm the one that's gonna abduct them and lock them in the closet or something. But I'm really a nice guy, like, and that's the reason why I'm all weird, because I'm always worried about them doing something to me, like, because I'm too nice and I let shit slide, and people tend to take advantage. And I'm worried about me being nice and letting someone freaking use me in some kind of way. Because that's what happens. They get into your life, and then they freaking learn stuff about you, and then they realize you're actually a nice guy. It's so crazy how that works. It's like the guy who's a real douchebag is the one that they freaking are all up in their butt and like in love and letting them do whatever or whatever. The actual nice guy, they treat him like shit once they realize he's an actual nice guy. It's like, what? This guy's a nice guy? Oh, that means I'm gonna go in on this dude. Let's see. We're sharing Instagram. It says Cassie and Diddy's statements on settling recent lawsuit. I have decided to resolve this matter amicably on terms that I have some level of control. I want to thank my family, fans, and lawyer for their unwavering support. So this is her statement about it. She just got paid for sure. It says, we have decided to resolve this matter amicably. I wish Cassie and her family all the best. Love. Diddy is good. He's like, I ain't trying to catch no case. I ain't trying to go through no lawsuit. I ain't trying to be in no circus. I'm finna just pay this chick whatever she freaking asking for and move on with my life. I kind of want to cover this a bit because that what she's saying is probably true. Like, actually, and it's so okay when it's like a rich person who does this stuff. Like, she was 19 years old when they met. He made her his girlfriend or whatever. Basically tried to give her a singing career or whatever. Although I don't know one song. I can't think of one song that she did or whatever. So, like, that's how it goes, right? It's like, oh, I'm going to give you a career. So then her family and everybody probably allows him to abuse her because they're like, this is your chance to get rich and famous or whatever. So you better do whatever he says, and whatever he does to you, you better not ever say anything or whatever. Like, really, really horrible, ugly stuff. I'm really sure, like, I don't know anything, but just from the knowledge I have of the world, I would not be surprised that literally everything that she says happened, and it's really sad. And it's just like, so the guy's rich, so he gets to do these things, and we look at it as normal and we accept it, and but it's like, it doesn't matter how much money you have, man. Abusing people is not cool and is against the law, and you should be held accountable for it. Just paying a check should not be enough. Let's see. Let's look at this, because supposedly we're all in the music sphere right now, and I normally don't talk about pop culture stuff, but whatever. This Snoop Dogg decided to quit smoking marijuana, so that's what the internet is talking about, and that's why this is here. But let's read this. It says, timeline of what happens to your body after quitting as Snoop Dogg gives up. It says, dive into the timeline of post-smoke changes. It says, day 1 to 3, mood swings, irritability, and edginess kicks in. Day 2 to 7, physical discomfort peaks, depression may set in. 2 weeks, withdrawal symptoms subside, brain receptors normalize. 4 weeks to months, Memory improves, mental acuity sharpens. Up to 1 year, insomnia may persist. Snoop journeys unfold. Share your thoughts below. And I had to quit too. I was a marijuana smoker too for a large portion of my life, and I had to let it go. And I definitely went through the insomnia and still probably have problems sleeping. I still have problems sleeping now, but I have really vivid dreams, like and I can remember them. And for years and years, I couldn't remember my dreams. Like once I wake up, it's just gone. And it's like I did have slightly like detailed dreams, but now my dreams are so vivid that I can think I'm awake. Like, I mean, like it's so vivid. It's like I'm watching a movie. Like all the details are really clear. I don't know. Is that a sign of a healthy mind or what? Or is this some kind of psychotic episode? Ooh. Let's do this. It says, the purpose of separation of church and state is to keep forever from these shores the ceaseless strife that has soaked the soil of Europe with blood for centuries. James Madison. I chopped this up, so let me read it again. It says, the purpose of separation of church and state is to keep forever from these shores the ceaseless strife that has soaked the soil of Europe with blood for centuries. James Madison. And we've been talking about this on the show, and it seems like the separation of church and state is becoming less and less these days. Not only that, we have a lot of people who are cheering on the ideas of this intertwinedness of the church and state. But there's a good reason to keep them separated. And even in this quote right here, he's talking about blood-soaked soil, and it's like we know about like the Crusades and when they spread Islam, and all of the deaths as a result of these things. And it's like we know this history, but then it seems like we forget, like we coming around, it's like things are going to be different this time. Like if the people feel like their religion is the reason why they're doing what they're doing, then you can't really reason with them. And logic and reason is not going to sway them. And it's going to lead to a lot of death, a lot of death and destruction. And I feel like we're going down that road of this, it's really scary for me, because I don't think that people really see what's happening, once you can't argue with them. They really believe it. And then they feel like they're doing something good, even if it's doing horrible things. But if they feel like the point of what they're doing is because for God or whatever, then, I don't know. Let's read this. It says, so why does every courtroom have "In God We Trust" displayed? Good freaking point. Let's read some tweet replies to this. It says, same reason it's on our money, and in the pledge, it was added in the 20th century. Yeah, so it wasn't like that before. I was reading about that recently. The "In God We Trust" thing. It wasn't like that before. They changed that. They added that. They put that in there. So the founding fathers didn't. Their whole thing was to make sure that we didn't have they were trying to get away from the matriarchal, what am I trying to say? They were trying to get away from, kings and queens, like that kind of deal, And so that was the thing. So God anointed these people, and they're a king and a queen because God says so or whatever, And it's like what the people say or how they feel about things don't really matter, because God has anointed these people to be kings and queens and to rule over the people. And that's what they were trying to get away from. Let's read some tweet replies to this. It says, it was added just after World War II. Another tweet reply, it says, added later like One Nation Under God. Read a book. It says, you can thank President Eisenhower for that same mentality that taught duck and cover in case of the nuclear attack. Another one that says, it was added during the Red Scare because communist countries outlawed religion, and our U.S. leaders felt we should emphasize God as a way to distinguish the USA from other countries. So this is what happened. So we're we're stumbling our way back to what we were trying to get away from, you know? And then so we're so worried about communism that we're gonna fall into this situation where we don't have a separation of church and state. It starts getting blurred, you know. And the whole thing was with the founding fathers was to let people worship how they feel and not have like a state sanctioned religion. Like people want to say the United States is a Christian nation, but that is not the case. It's absolutely not the case. We have Christians here, but we also have other religions, and people worship in their own way, and they're free to do that. And that's one of the things that make the United States great. In some other countries, you're not allowed to worship the way you want to, you know? So if at some point where we intertwine religion and the state, then we have to choose one specific religion, right? Because you can't have it like intertwined between multiple religions. How would that work? So then that means that one religion is going to take precedent over any other ones. So then that's when we start getting to that point where it's going to be like, well, you have to be a Christian. If you're not, then you're not a United States citizen. You're not a patriot. It says, as the post-World War II generation that added in the Red Scare says, this was changed in 1954. The founding fathers made our motto, E pluribus unum, Latin for out of many, one. Yeah, so I didn't know it was as recent as 1954. Like, that's not very far. That's not very long ago, like at all. Like, that's fairly recent, I would say. We're stumbling down a scary road. It says, our money also says, in God we trust. I always wonder about that too. Like when they say in God we trust, what are they talking about with that? Are they saying the money is God? You know, in God we trust. Why put that on the money? What is the connection between money and God? You know, it's like you're favored by God if you have money, and you're a sinner if you don't have money. You know, these are the kind of conclusions that you start getting to when you start going down that kind of road. You know, I'm blessed because God loves me and I do right and I'm righteous, so therefore I have money and I live good or whatever. But if I'm poor and I steal and all of that, I'm not righteous. Let's see. A couple more comments. It says, why the word God doesn't appear in the Constitution? Another comment that says, my favorite thing about the right is their insistence that we are a Christian nation because it says in God we trust on our money and under God in the POA, as though God is inherently Christian. Says, so the founding fathers said, we need to keep your religious folks, your book and ideology as far away from our government as possible. Yeah, but that's not where we are now. It says, we forget that the earliest colonizers were religious fanatics. They were no longer welcome in their home nations. There's some truth to that, but they still did not want to have the government tied up in with the religion, because they, like, what was it, the Puritans, or the what's the other word for it? Like, they were anti the other stuff. So, you know, they didn't want to be like the majority. They didn't want to be like the main ones. So they were, what is the word I'm looking for? Protagonists, Protestant. That's the word I'm looking for. Yeah. So, but you know, they were pretty extra religious, because you think about Virginia. Was that the first colony, right? If that's not the first one, it was really early in there. And it's like, yeah, the Puritans and the Protestants, they were pretty religious, but they still had the idea that they didn't want you to be told how you should worship, and they didn't want to have the government to be tied up in with the religion. Let's read this. It says, the church is the cause of massacres of countless indigenous people who were murdered all over the world in the search of wealth, conveniently forgetting the commandments, thou shalt not kill, thou shalt not steal. I don't think they really believe it. It says, will someone show Mike Johnson this? We don't want your shit religion. It says, send this to Mike Johnson. Hold on. Another one, it says, please note that Bobert Green don't read history. Way too hard for them. That's kind of mean. It says, the more I see of religious people these days, the less I want to be like them. Another one that says, yep, unfortunately, we find ourselves in a situation where religious people want to control the whole country. I'm over that. Another one that says, America was founded on separation of church and state. Keep it that way. Another one that says, religion does have a way of antagonizing people with each other instead of unifying as it should. Many have died in the name of God. Yeah, so that's what it is. If we could just let people worship the way they want to worship instead of telling people how they should worship, it's going to automatically, what they say, religion has a way of antagonizing people with each other. So, and I think that's true, because it's like, I'm holier than thou. The way I do it is the right way. The way you do it is wrong. So we're never going to agree when it comes to that. And someone's going to always feel like they're right. So it's nothing good going to come of it. It says, and what has happened? The Christians are persecuting women again. It's a witch hunt all over again. I think there's some truth to that. I really do. Because, we got the Roe versus Wade thing. And it's like, they want to say that the reason why they are against abortion, is not religious or is not driven by their religious beliefs. But we know that's not true. We know that's not true. So how can you say that? So that's what I mean by us going down this road of getting closer and closer with religion and politics, religion and the state being severely intertwined. We have this Christian nationalism stuff. We have the evangelicals who are a powerful voting bloc, and these politicians, some of these ones that get elected, they rely on that evangelical voting bloc. They know it's there and they know how they're going to vote. And then they say what they say in their speeches or whatever, because they're looking to get that vote from them. This one says, yes, indeed, all colonists were eager not to repeat the 100 Years' War, which was kicked off once Protestantism spread in Europe. It says, didn't appear to have worked. It says, based as fuck. It says, oh, remember him. It says, why doesn't the right read this? Yeah. It says, louder for the Christ fascists in the back. Yeah, you guys, please pay attention to what's happening. We're creeping towards this, and this is not what was intended by the people who set this experiment up that we call the United States. Let me see. I don't want to lose y'all, but let's do this one. It's the traffic caused by protests to demand ceasefire in Gaza. So that was San Francisco. It looks like they shut down the bridge in San Francisco. It says around 250 demonstrators blocked San Francisco's Bay Bridge, protesting for over 4 hours against Israel's war in Gaza. It says the protests happened as several world leaders met in the city at a summit hosted by U.S. President Joe Biden. Al Jazeera English posted this. They said protesters shut down San Francisco's Bay Bridge during rush hour as they called for a ceasefire in Gaza. Damn, imagine being stuck in that traffic on the bridge. Like, you screwed. You can't go nowhere. You just stuck. I guess you could just call your boss and be like, "Hey, are you watching the news?" Yeah, that's why I'm late. I don't know what time I'm gonna be there. I can't even go home. I can't do nothing. I'm stuck here on this bridge. They'll be like, "You better find a way here. Park your car, get out the car, and walk." Let's read some comments. It says, "How is eating other people's day helping?" How is eating other people's day helping? I don't get that at all. It says, "I heard sick people died in ambulance because of the blocking of this bridge." Another comment says, "Don't blame the protesters, blame American government." Another one says, "Notice these people are diverse, whereas the pro-Israel protest was solid white and half paid off. Free Palestine." Another comment says, "I was late to work and almost fired because of this bullshit." Almost fired. Well, how many times have you been late? Like, it seems like your people, like I say, just watch the news. Hey, that's why I was late. It's like, but if you late every damn day, then you end up being late because of this. Like, you didn't get fired or almost fired because of this particular protest. You got almost fired because you always late. It wasn't a protest on the bridge every damn day you was going to work. So come on now. Do better. Leave earlier. It says, according to a poll, 60% of Americans voted for a ceasefire. Sounds like we live under a dictatorship. It says, who do they want to ceasefire? Has Hamas taken a day off? Another one that says, barely got news though. Shame on our media. This was huge. Another one, everyone is trying their best for a ceasefire, but unfortunately nothing changed in the last 40 days. Another one that says, go to Palestine and protest in the borders. I haven't seen this type of foolishness. Where are these people when the war started in Ukraine? Another one that says, people will hate you for causing inconvenience and indirectly hate the message you're trying to convey. Imagine holding in. Another one that says, the point is to cause disruption and inconvenience to bring awareness to people. If people are mad, stay mad. Nothing changes as long as everyone ignores this atrocity and goes on about their happy day. Another one that says, why isn't protests on the Arab countries? Why the Arab countries don't show solidarity with Palestinian people? Another one that says, from the sky to the ground, Israel will be down. From river to the sea, Palestine will be free. Another one that says, and 240 people under Hamas custody. Do you care about also or its relative? This solidarity, I didn't see any post news about. What about the Arab countries? Yes, that's a clever strategy. San Francisco, we love you. Free Palestine, stop colonialism. When the leaders just keep quiet, it's time for us to move. If at this volume of protests globally could not move U.S. president, U.S. and the European Union to comply till now, you can imagine the monster and demonic heart of this so-called Western countries. Indeed, the devil is full on earth. Yeah, I don't see how people really think that this kind of thing is really going to have an impact. I totally sympathize with them. I do. But I don't see how, they think that this is going to actually cause like let's say President Biden is sitting in the Oval Office or whatever, and then on the news is showing this, and he's like, oh, I guess I ought to put pressure on Israel to do a ceasefire because they shut down the Golden Gate Bridge. You know what? That's it. I gotta do something about this. I can't have my people stuck on traffic on the freeway. I gotta go. Let me get on the phone with Netanyahu right now, because no, it sounds ridiculous coming out of my mouth. Another one that says, well done to all who were part of this. May your voices be heard. It says, music to my ears. Yes, indeed. Blame U.S. government, the perpetrators. It says, now start, break everything if government don't listen. Yeah. Do I want to cover this? It's kind of scary. Let's do it.
parts. A trial set to begin in just months. And tonight, new grisly details of what the FBI says really happened.
ABC 15's Nicole Valdez is live.
This building off 24th Street, the university, doesn't look like much, but according to new claims in these court documents, the Biological Resource Center was essentially running a chop shop for human body parts, mixing, matching, and selling them in ways we'd never heard of until tonight. One FBI agent revealing what it was really like inside the Phoenix body donation facility, from buckets of heads, arms, and legs to coolers filled with severed penises when the FBI raided the building. He even spotted a smaller head sewn onto a larger torso in a, quote, Frankenstein manner. The limbs, according to that agent, with no apparent identification. A torso with a head apparently went for $2,400.
What?
A leg about $1,100. They'd even
Bodies and body parts. A trial set to begin in just months. And tonight, new grisly details of what the FBI says really happened.
ABC 15's.
Yeah, what? So people are buying these for art pieces or something? Like, what the hell is going on? I would think that it's crazy world we living in. But I would think that the bodies would be worth something more than like $2,000 or whatever for some art piece or whatever. I mean, like, can you use the organs or whatever? Like, I don't know.
FBI agent revealing what it was
You need to cleanse. Sugar cravings, belly fat, hard to lose.
really like inside the Phoenix body donation facility, from buckets of heads, arms, and legs to cool.
It says there's clearly a market for this, which makes it more scary. So they're saying it was a chop shop for bodies. It says there's clearly a market for this, which makes it more scary. Y'all need to detox. We don't know if we eating this shit. Go. What the hell does that got to do with anything? Chop shop for bodies. It says this is happening. This happened summer of 2019, and it's really disgusting that y'all are using the story to promote y'all detox drink. We know damn well they didn't buy body parts to feed to us. Everybody know who and what they were for. I remember this. Well, what were they for? Because I don't know. See, somebody said, real question, what were they for? I have an assumption, but not sure. No, they talking about meat industry. No way. No way, no way. What the hell were they using them for? It's like art pieces, like crazy people just like collecting body parts. And like I say, man, it would make sense to use organs, and like people need organs, but other than that, I don't know what the hell. I'm gonna move on because this is like grossing me out, and it's also making my mind think too hard on some morbid.
Nancy Pelosi, who's a crazed lunatic. What the hell was going on with her husband? Let's not ask. Let's not ask. I'll withdraw that statement.
Laugh about 80, how old, 2?
Yeah. I think 82.
82-year-old man almost being beaten to death by a hammer and his skull. Laugh about that, Donald. You may just leave it there. We're not going to leave it there. You're a hateful, hateful man. But again, this is fascism. It's just pure fascism. It's using violent rhetoric, whether you're talking about storming the Capitol, whether you want to go back all the way to 2016 and say, you know what, you beat up people that are against me and I'll pay your defense fund. Whether you're talking about all the things he's talking about, but here, again, mocking and ridiculing Nancy Pelosi's husband.
The only terror we had was Nancy Pelosi, who's a crazed lunatic. What the hell was going on with her husband? Let's not ask. Let's not ask. I'll withdraw that statement.
Laugh about 80, how old, 2?
It bothers me a lot how people are throwing around this fascism word all the time. Like, what Donald Trump's comments were crass, and inappropriate, I would say, and it shouldn't be funny or whatever, but it's fascist is a huge stretch, like a huge stretch. Like I don't like that, man. It's making the word have less meaning. Like it doesn't mean anything when you use fascism, when you call everything fascist. It's now we people don't know what fascism really is. Like we got to go to the definition and pull it up because it don't have anything to do with him making crass jokes. How did we get here? Can y'all hear me? Let me double check. Can y'all hear me? Okay. Let's read some comments. It says, DL Hughley post this, of course. It says, I can't understand if you don't support Biden, but I can't. He says, I can understand if you don't support Biden, but I can't understand how anyone should support Trump. Shaking my head. Another comment says, we need him as president. Unfortunately, the candidate we have aren't capable of bringing economic stability back to our country. I get he's got a terrible way of being, but they're not but they're not a single candidate that can make the type of impact on the country. It's just the honest God's truth. That was terribly written, but I get what he's saying. Even what's his name, who is always talking bad about Trump, he posted recently saying that he would support Trump in the election. Mostly what he's been posting about is Israel and stuff and supporting them or whatever. But and he's always talking about Trump. That's the reason why I follow his channel, because when he's making fun of Trump, it's pretty damn funny to me. What is the guy's name? The guy who was in the movies? I can't think of his name. So now I made my whole point mute because I can't think of his name right now. What the hell is his name? Anyways, it's surprising though to see him say that he would vote for Trump, even though he's always bad mouthing him. But I think a lot of people are falling in that boat now. Let's read some more. It says, it's really unbelievable how Donald Trump fans like his behavior. Says a lot about them. Yikes. Another one, it says, he's telling the truth about Nancy. She's a paid off politician just like the rest of them. That's true. Another comment says, but let's see Democrats can't be convicted on any crimes, but yet the same crime that Donald Trump so safe committed, Joe Biden just got exonerated. So yeah, save me the hypocrisy, all of you. Another one that says, it's wild people cheer for this clown that just yells out conspiracy theories. Another one, Trump 2024 period. Another one says, just remember there are folks who support dumb but pledge allegiance to the flag. Another one says, the sad part, millions of Americans will vote for this authoritarian leader next November. For Trump and his supporters, cruelty is their driving force. It says, attempted murder is funny, got it. We're living in a circus and he's the ringleader. His supporters should be ashamed and embarrassed, but they're laughing. Keep your mask off. Let us see the racism and indecency. One more, I'm gonna move on. It says, didn't the Capitol just get ran over with a bunch of commies rooting for genocide? I'm confused with this comment because I guess they're talking about, because Washington, D.C., they were talking about Palestine. They were like, ceasefire, but he says rooting for genocide. That's confusing to me. I don't know if y'all saw it, but let's pull this up since this guy mentioned it. But Washington, D.C., they were and the cops came and freaking broke it up. It was pretty violent. Okay, here we go. Sky News. Let's play some of this.
That is an insight into some of the chaos that unfolded in Washington, D.C. Pro-Palestine activists clashed with police on Wednesday night as they demanded a ceasefire in Gaza. This is what police were up against.
Get back, guys!
This is what one of the protesters had to say to the camera as the demonstration escalated.
We're outside the DNC, we're outside the Democratic Party headquarters because this party claims to be on the side of life and peace and equality, and we're saying that we want them to live up to their values and oppose this horrific war and call for a ceasefire now. And we're being responded to by the police shoving anti-war activists down the stairs, shoving peaceful protesters back with their bikes. And because our party that 80% of us want a ceasefire, would rather beat up protesters.
Hold on, one second.
The scenes in DC became so tense and so ugly, Congress members had to be evacuated. California Congressman Brad Sherman shared his experience, describing the protesters as violent and pro-terrorist. He posted to X, was just evacuated from the DNC after pro-terrorist, anti-Israel protesters grew violent, pepper spraying police officers and attempting to break into the building. Thankful to the police officers who stopped them and for helping me and my colleagues get out safely. Apparently, these pro-Hamas demonstrators want Republicans to prevail in the next congressional election. Police released a statement pleading with members of the public to stay away while officers made arrests. Part of the statement says, right now, our officers are working to keep back approximately 150 people who are illegally and violently protesting in the area. Officers are making arrests. All members have been evacuated from the area. Please stay away from the area. While this was unfolding, the Israeli Defense Force released a video walking through Al-Shifa Hospital in Gaza, showing what they say is evidence it was used as a base by Hamas. An officer toured the building in the 7-minute video, showing weapon caches and grab bags filled with ammunition.
The contents of the bag are full military kit for one Hamas terrorist. A live grenade, ammunition, fighting vest with insignia, boots, and of course uniforms, and last but not least, standard AK-47. Inside the hospital, hidden in a secluded area, take a look at this door here. Blast-proof door, which is part of the clinic and part of the infrastructure of the hospital. Everything else looks like a hospital, only this part doesn't. Let's have a look at what we found inside the very same cabinet that houses medical equipment. You can see all kinds of standard military medical stuff. We found another go-to bag, this bag here. And again, we opened it up in order to make sure that it's safe to touch and show. So please don't give me any of that. You opened it up and you placed it there. This is the bag that we found, and this is the stuff that was in it. Now, there's insignia, military insignia, a knife. For those of you who read Arabic, you'll be able to understand what it says here. But it's Hamas, the military wing, Kataib al-Qassam, of course a vest with equipment, and as always an AK-47, standard gear, grab and go, which they thought would be a good place to store inside a hospital.
I don't know, man. That still doesn't justify.
This news is funded by viewers like you.
It doesn't justify blowing up the whole ass hospital, though. Even if it's true. They said the doors were blast proof. Well, then blowing up the hospital didn't do nothing but kill the other people in the hospital and still left that stuff untouched. So what did they accomplish? Whatever, man. Call me crazy. Call me crazy.
I am terrified of Donald Trump and the white supremacist anti-Semitic movement that's behind him. And I feel immense stake in the Democratic Party winning in November 2024. And frankly, again, I am deeply terrified and angry at Democratic leadership for ignoring the calls from the majority of their base for a ceasefire, a hostage exchange, and a de-escalation, and creating a lack of faith in the Democratic Party that I am very concerned will hurt Democrats' chances in November. And I encourage them with the fullest emphasis possible to reverse course now. 11,000 Palestinians in Gaza killed are not enough for them to call for ceasefire, which is how we know this horrific violence will end and move toward a political solution in the region. And so we are waiting to see how many Palestinian lives our Democratic politicians need in order to call for ceasefire. And every day, every hour that they wait has, I fear, implications for what will happen in November. The money that AIPAC is spending in these elections is primarily from far-right billionaires, and that AIPAC is functioning essentially as a way for these Republican billionaires to interfere in Democratic primaries. And in particular, around escalating their spending or threats of spending against those calling for ceasefire. AIPAC has always been determined to prevent any kind of conditionality on U.S. support for Israel, any human rights conditions consistent with U.S. law, and any daylight between the U.S. and Israel. And frankly, I am also extremely terrified about the implications of punishing politicians for not supporting, again, this assault, this massacre in Gaza. If AIPAC is determined to tell the American public that supporting an unfolding genocide, that speaking out to oppose an unfolding genocide is beyond the pale in the realm of political acceptability, what is going to become of us and what is going to happen to this world? Let's be clear, I am terrified of Donald Trump and the white supremacist anti-Semitic movement that's behind him. And I feel immense stake in the Democratic Party winning in November 2024. And frankly, again, I am deeply terrified and angry at Democratic leadership for ignoring the calls from the majority of their base for a ceasefire, a hostage exchange, and a de-escalation, and creating a lack of faith in the Democratic Party that I am very concerned will hurt Democrats' chances in November. And yeah,
the Democrats are in trouble. So she's right about that part. Eva Bargwart, national spokesman for If Not Now, comments on Democratic Party leaders' resistance and suppression of public calls to rein in Israel's lethal assault on Gaza, as well as the role of the powerful lobbying group AIPAC and policing public dissent. Yeah, the Dems are in trouble. Let me read some comments. It says, third party, under no circumstances voting Dem. I think a lot of people feel that way. I think the third parties have one of the best chances they've had in a long time now because of the given circumstances. But, you know, it's still not very viable, you know? Like, it's hard to get on the ballot in all 50 states if you're not Republican or Democrat. So if you're not on the ballot on all 50 states, the chances of you actually winning is like no. Let's read this one. It says, I don't foresee a refund or anyone getting what they witnessed. Joe has stained the Dems beyond measure. It says, it's already been too many. This administration will never get a vote of mine again. I'm not terrified of anyone after this. This is the worst of humanity. It says vote third party, Cornel West 2024. It says if fascism is the only option these two parties are pushing for, they work for the same money. Another one that says, I'm saying it now, they better find a new candidate because Genocide Joe has got to go. Can y'all hear me? Find a new candidate. It says, I'm not voting for Biden. Damn tired of these two-party crooked corporate-owned system. It says, this is exactly who Democrats are, always have been, always will be. Vote third party or abstain. It says, I'll be voting independent. Another one that says, I will absolutely not be voting for Joe Biden. Either give me a different candidate that has a good platform or I'll be voting third party, period. We're all taking note of politicians that are refusing to call for a ceasefire. It says, Democrats have lost my vote, no refund, no genocide. It says, to call out Trump's white supremacy ties while ignoring the active Democratic collaborations with white supremacy is disingenuous. Yes, Orange Man is mad, but Biden is the other side of the same coin. Another one that says, they are not calling for ceasefire because they are participating in ethnic cleansing plan with Israel. It says, we are not for Biden-Harris no matter what. It says, neither Democrats nor Republicans, they're all both failed parties for the needs of the vast majority of humanity. It says, every liberal here finally seeing the Democrats as liberalism itself actually fall right of center, without a true left. And I don't mean Bernie Sanders, Scandinavian socialism, who would never have true liberation or justice. Republican, Democrat, Bernie, etc., they're capitalists all the way down. This country's refusal to condemn or turn on Israel has everything to do with capitalism, securing our chokehold on the Middle East, and in turn our access to critical resources, as well as maintaining imperial control of this region, where we have created half a dozen enemy states through a century of the very same failed imperialist policies and wars. So this is a really good comment right here. It's revelations, you know. The truth is being revealed. You know, their masks are falling off. Their bias is showing. This one, it says, I don't know what to do. If Trump wins, we're absolutely fucked. And if Biden wins, we're not much better off. If there was any chance a third-party candidate could win, I would absolutely vote for them. But the way all of this two-party shit is set up, it's impossible. Do we vote Biden just to keep Trump out of power? Do we vote third-party knowing full well it's not going to work? Do we not vote at all? I'm absolutely torn by this. And that's the point. That is the point. The point is, you really don't have a choice. It's an illusion of choice. And the results are going to be the results that the powers that be want to have, regardless of what the American people want. So, yeah, you don't really have a choice. And it just shows that, you know, that our democracy is not very democratic. It's an illusion. And voting is just a pacifier. Meanwhile, everything just continues the same as it has gone. There's a reason why they, you know, have undermined third parties left and right. They don't want that. They want the paradigm of you have to choose between stir-fry shit and baked shit. You got to choose the lesser of two evils, if you will. Like, if you're choosing the lesser of two evils, you're choosing evil still. And evil wins. It says, who really is Joe Biden? Why is that status quo so important to maintain? Because of fear that it will be worse. This is showing us who they really are. This is showing us that both parties pretty much work for the same people, and it ain't the people. Yep. You know, and all the Democrats have is that they're like, you can't vote for that guy, you know, so you got to vote for our guy. You can't let that guy win. So it's like the only motivation they have is to vote against something. They don't give you anything to vote for. All they're like, you have to vote for us. Like this is the most important election of your lifetime, and you have to vote for us because you can't let that other guy win. So, but then what policies are you putting forward to give us something to vote for? What are you actually doing? You don't have to do anything. You just have to tell us that you can't let the other guy win, and that's all. That's what you think is good enough. I think, the Democratic strategy is going to lead us to a Trump presidency. Another comment, it says, the only thing the Democratic Party is good at is maintaining an illusion of democracy. If they gave a shit about actual democracy, they would have used this presidency to spearhead ending the Electoral College. They would have challenged the bribes that the Supreme Court and all the government at large are taking from lobbyists. They would listen to the voice of the people and make sure we are on the path for universal health care. The most dangerous thing to the U.S. is apathetic voters getting status quo with the old lesser of two evils rhetoric instead of launching a unifying candidate for the country. Yep. And it's a bunch of stuff they could have done. And what the Democrats always like to say is, we couldn't do this. Our hands were tied. The Republicans are keeping us from doing anything, And that's like, that's fucking bullshit. The Republicans push through the shit that they want to get done all the time. And then the Democrats are like, we can't get anything done. They're playing not fair. It's fucking bullshit. And if you really wanted people to have faith in the Democratic Party, then right now you have Biden in the office. So get some shit done to show the people that the Democrats actually do stuff. But nope. Some more says, let's not give Joe Biden the nomination in 2024. Another one, it says, too late, third party or bust, or someone step up and primary this F into oblivion. Another one, it says, Biden and his administration already said they don't have a red line where it comes to Israel's genocide in Gaza. No matter which clowns, Dems, or Republicans put forth, they are part of the same circus. And you won't be able to primary Biden because the Democratic convention, the Democratic machine is not going to allow it. Only, it's all about money, and you're not going to be able to get that. All the money is going to push behind the Democratic machine. So no one's going to be able to primary Biden no matter what. They're not going to allow that to happen. And that would be a better move, I think, to primary Biden and put somebody else up there that people are actually going to want to vote for. Not going to happen.
They're feeling really glum about the economy. All of sort of the top line economic data would make you think that young people should be feeling really optimistic. Unemployment's super low. There are a ton of job openings. Wage growth has been good. And so all of those things would make you think people should be feeling good. And actually people are feeling really bad. For the sake of journalism, I spent a day just watching TikTok videos on the economy at work. And then I called some of those influencers who were creating that content and talked to them about it. We talked to sort of media strategists, we talked to economists, we talked to the whole range of people and tried to figure out what's going on. And there's this really interesting interplay that we found. Young people are feeling really negative about a bunch of things related to sort of affordability. Most of that ties back to things like gas or groceries or the recent price increases. A lot of it also ties back to long-running trends like housing affordability. And those concerns seem to be swamping the very real positives in the economy. We didn't see a lot of young people complaining about the job market, but we just saw a ton of content basically saying, I'm never going to be able to afford a house. These sort of long-running housing affordability issues are real. It is the case that we do not have enough housing supply in this country, and that can make it very difficult for people sort of striking out and starting on their own. Over decades, inequality has gotten a lot worse. I think all of those concerns, those sort of long-running concerns, very real. The short-term sort of what are conditions like in the economy, I think is telling a slightly different story. So it's complicated. It's usually not useful to tell people that their own perception of the economy is not right. People feel the way they feel for a reason, typically. young people are feeling really glum about the economy. All of sort of the top line economic data would make you think that young people
They're
should
gaslighting the shit out of us, man. This shit right here kind of pisses me off because what did she say? She said there's a low amount of housing. Like we have a scarcity in housing. Like there's not enough houses or whatever. That's so much fucking bullshit. Right here where I live, right behind where I live, the apartments where I live, I see empty houses. This whole block is full of empty houses. There's no one that lives there. I look out of my window and I look across the thing, and these are freshly built houses, and they've been sitting here. I've been in this apartment for half a year now, and no one has moved into these homes. They're just freaking sitting there, you know. And that's what our system does. It creates this illusion of scarcity, and that's what drives up prices. And that's what they really care about. They're so fucking greedy. They just want to make fucking money. They don't mind leaving homes empty across the whole ass nation while there's people out here who would pay for the houses. They would actually do it. They'll pay their mortgage, they'll pay their rent, or they'll pay it whatever. But you push it to a point where they want to maximize the profits that they get off of this stuff. It really doesn't make sense to me because you're not making any money if the house is just sitting there empty. Can y'all hear me? You're not making any money if the house is sitting there empty. It's fucking crazy, man. It's the illusion of scarcity. And that's what freaking drives this situation that we have. And then they're gaslighting the shit out of us, talking about the economy is good. The economy is good, my ass. Everybody I know is fucking struggling. Everybody is talking about how much it costs to fucking buy groceries. Everybody is living check to check, like with nothing left over at the end of the month. Like, no, that's bullshit. Stop fucking lying to us. You're gonna tell us what we see right in front of our eyes is not true. Like, we're stupid. We're not smart enough. We need to go take some economics classes so that we can understand that the economy is actually good. I don't need no economy classes to teach me that the economy is good when I'm looking around and I'm fucking struggling. Get all the way the F out of here. So New York Times posted this. It says, what's causing bad vibes in the economy? Look at recent economic data, and you would think that young voters would be riding high. Unemployment remains low. Job opportunities are plentiful. Inequality is down. Wage growth is finally beating inflation, and the economy has expanded rapidly this year. Where are they getting this from? Where are they getting the data to support what they're saying here? What did it say? Unemployment remains low. Yeah, people got 3 fucking jobs. It says job opportunities are plentiful. Really? You mean the jobs at some kind of freaking fast food joint or something? Like freaking, I don't know, some job working as a street vendor? It says inequalities is down. Whatever. I just saw, and I didn't share it on here, but I just saw a post that showed how the division of wealth, and you know, it's the top fucking 1% that's got like all the wealth. Like, we're in a Gilded Age 2.0, like, and that is a fact. Like, so where are they getting inequalities is down? It says wage growth is finally beating inflation. Where are they getting this from? That is absolutely not fucking true. All the numbers are showing that, you know, inflation has been going up, and wages have not gone up. Wage growth is finally beating inflation. Where the hell are they getting that from? It says the economy has expanded rapidly this year. Maybe for freaking the damn companies that's price gouging the rest of us, the damn monopolies, not our economy, not the regular American people's economies haven't expanded. It says, but look at TikTok and you get very different impression. One that seems more in line with both consumer confidence data and President Biden's performance in political polls. Several of the economy-related trends getting traction on TikTok are downright dire. The term silent depression recently spawned a spat of viral videos. Clips critical of capitalism are common. One Instagram jokes about a lack of affordable housing are genre unto themselves. Social media reflects and is potentially fueling a deep-seated angst about economy that is showing up in surveys of younger consumers and political poles alike. It suggests that even as the job market booms, people are focusing on long-running issues like housing affordability, and they assess the economy. Yeah, man, they're fucking bullshitting us. Another comments, it says, "This is so patronizing, it's giving me bad vibes." That's a good comment. That's exactly how this makes me feel. Another comment says, "For a lot of us younger people, we don't have a stable future. War, climate change, housing, medical, food, democracy, etc. Nothing is guaranteed in our lifetime, and our economy sees the average worker as disposable. That's why we're gaslit and told us to work harder, when in reality, we're experiencing so many issues in our society." Bad vibes, y'all can't be serious. Another one that says, "What are these tons of job openings and how much do they pay?" Telling you, you got plenty of job opportunities to go cut your neighbor's grass. Another comment that says, "Yeah, LOL, I can't find a job, but working for my entire adult life, we won't do anything to keep me out of poverty. In my old age is both glum as fuck and an accurate take on our economic situation." It says, "I just want my taxes reimbursed because I do not condone genocide." Another one that says, "The top 10% of American families own more than half of the wealth in this country, and you're thinking we're going to be happy about it? LMAO, no meaningful work on climate change, making housing affordable, increasing wages, and constant bombardment of alt-right nationalism, etc. What is there to be optimistic about is a better question." Another comment says, "It's the Democrats there, that's the problem." Wow, that's really oversimplified. Another comment says, "Real wages have been completely stagnant over the past 40 years, while productivity rise in, year out. The NYT has belittled workers by saying they are complaining too much about bad vibes." Another one says, "Bad vibes, TikTok, and yet you wonder why people no longer read the paper." Another comment says, "She hit on it quickly, but despite current trends, the wealth inequality gap has been increasing for decades. So despite what's happening now at a macro level, you still have a small percent of people holding most of the world's wealth. Pack that on top of few laws limiting how much companies can charge us for things we can't live without, like gas, and you have this perfect storm. Unfortunately, the Biden administration is empowering the FTC and supporting antitrust laws." Yep. It says, "Her elitist jacket and perky attitude while talking about this infuriating topic are giving me bad vibes. I'm telling you." Another one that says, "But NYT is all about false narratives instead of actual facts." Another one that says, "What's my job good for if I can hardly pay rent and childcare, much less afford a home?" It says, here's a new headline: "New York Times, capitalist corporate greed is ruining the economy." It says, "Inequality, lack of accountability for the rich politicians lining their own pockets. This is a very easy to see. No one needs to watch TikTok videos all day when we live through it." Another one that says, "People would be more optimistic if we could ban investment firms from buying homes and tax multi-home owners at a higher rate to start to settle the current landscape. But instead, politicians continue to be bought out by big corporations, and thus the middle class is getting phased out. Not much to look forward to when working hard doesn't even guarantee a stable future, because some executive needs to suppress wages and inflate prices so their great-great-great-grandchild never has to work a day in their life." Couple more. It says, "The economy has been rigged against working people for decades, even when it looks good." It says, "Wage being good, what are you, drunk?" Another one, it says, "It's bad vibes, guys. Not the U.S. losing its AAA rating, not the rampant inflation causing food prices to soar 15 to 20%, not the house prices going up 2 times. It's just the vibes." Another comment says, "Are you trolling us?" I'm telling you, that's what it feels like. Not funny. Not funny at all. This one, it says a politician making $200,000 a year buys a $60 million jet.
States of America is you can't get fired. You can do whatever you want to do, and you will end up being a multimillionaire. Well, it's working in politics, of course, and being a public servant. We're going to use Dianne Feinstein as an example because her information is all over the internet right now. But before we do, condolences to her family. I don't care how terrible of a person you are. It's not fun to the family to lose anybody, any way, shape, or form. So Dianne Feinstein is leaving $100 million plus portfolio to her 4 daughters. And when you're a public servant, your annual salary is always approximately 6 figures, like $100,000, $200,000, maybe $400,000 if you're Gary Gensler. But how does she have a net worth of 8+ figures? $60 million private jet, $21 million San Francisco mansion, $7.4 million Washington, D.C. home, $5 million Hawaii home, and $70 million cash in the bank from a 6-figure salary. This is also known as insider trading and having way too much power. Do you want to know what the best job in the United States of America is? You can't get fired. You can do whatever you want to do, and you will end up being a multimillionaire. Well, it's working in politics, of course, and
Where'd
being
she
a
get
public
all that
servant.
money from?
We're going to use Dianne Feinstein as an example because her information is all over the internet right now. But before we do, condolences to her family. I don't care how terrible of a person you are. It's not fun to the family to lose anybody, any way, shape, or form. So Dianne Feinstein is leaving $100 million plus portfolio to her 4 daughters. And when you're a public servant, your annual salary is always approximately 6 figures, like $100,000, $200,000, maybe $400,000 if you're Gary Gensler. But how does she have a net worth of 8+ figures? $60 million private jet, $21 million San Francisco mansion, $7.4 million Washington, D.C. home, $5 million Hawaii home, and $70 million cash in the bank from a 6-figure salary. This is also known as insider trading and having way too much power. Do you want to know what the best job in the United States of America is? You can't.
Yep, that sounds like the best job to me. No wonder they're freaking passing the laws that they're passing. It's fucking good times for them. Wow, how does she have so much money? Says, please be aware of bots and scams in the comment section. Instagram is having a hard time dealing with bots, and some of our posts get a lot of fake comments with scam links. Comment, it says insider trading should have been illegal for Congress. It is for all other citizens. Yep. That's what what's her name went to jail for charger? Yeah. What's her name? Who am I thinking of? Martha Stewart. She went to jail for insider trading. I can't think of a politician that has gone to jail for insider trading. Let's read this. Another comment. It says, but will that dirty money buy her a ticket to heaven, though? Another comment. It says, take those 87,000 new IRS workers and audit every single member of the House and Senate to include the current administration. That'll never happen. It says the citizens supported her entire adult life and she voted to destroy America. It says no, so much corruption. It says corruption at the core. Tax the poor people so rich people can afford private jets and private islands. Corruption definition is this woman. Should put them down in jail for war crimes, like how insider trading. It says they line up their pockets with our tax money and corporate money to pass laws for them. It's a good gig they got going on. It says I'm a public servant and we weren't allowed to buy stocks in aviation because we work in aviation. The rules only apply to some people, some public servants, not all. It says you can't expect to change anything when everyone making the laws and controlling the money is old as hell. We need term limits for every elected position, then watch how fast things change. I like the idea of term limits, but I don't know how this person thinks that that's going to be the answer to the problem. Like earlier, the person said, don't let anybody, if the Congress shouldn't be that. I don't think they should be able to buy and trade, sell stocks. I'm sorry. Like, especially if it has the stocks have, if there anything comes across their desk that's related to any company that they are own stocks for, then no, it's too much of an opportunity for them to be shady. Like, don't give them incentive to be shady. Take that all the way off the table. If they want to be a public servant, they want to work for the people, they want to work in Congress, then that's where their money needs to be coming from. They shouldn't be worried about making money somewhere else. If you want to just make money and trade stocks or work for a company or whatever and make a lot of money, then don't be a politician. Period. You get into it. You're supposed to get into it because you want to make a difference. You want to make things right. You want to pass laws. You want to, make the country better or whatever. Your incentive shouldn't be to get in there to make freaking millions of dollars. If you want to make millions of dollars, go do something else. Don't be a politician. No, sorry. They shouldn't be able to trade stocks at all. How about that? It says it's called dirty money. Not exactly, but close. It says Dave Chappelle said it best. Another one that says every corrupt politician loves funds from other countries and fundraisers. And then they say that it all goes to charity. What charity? Your pocket. Shaking my head. It says the first ones that say climate change. Yeah, okay. It says her husband was a billionaire. What the F are you talking about here? Check. And not marital assets. Y'all slinging crap at a dead lady. How low? Okay, so if her husband was a billionaire, then still, like, is this money that she's having related to her money from being married? I mean, I'd have to see the paperwork. Show me the paperwork. I mean, even if that's true, it doesn't change the fact that these politicians are making a killing. We know that what's happening with Nancy Pelosi and her husband trades stocks, and he seems to be very good at it. And so the stuff goes across her desk. You think she doesn't talk to her husband about the stuff that comes across her desk? I don't know how much longer I'm gonna stay on here. Let's read this one. It says, we live in an age. Can y'all hear me? This one it says, we live in an age where violence is so abstracted and symbolized that you can claim that 12,000 plus human beings blown to pieces in an airstrike is acceptable, moral even, and people peacefully blocking an entrance to a building is grotesque, terrifying violence. Yep. How twisted mental have we gotten? How have we gotten here? Let's read this again. It says, we live in an age where violence is so abstracted and symbolized that you can claim that 12,000 plus human beings blown to pieces in airstrikes is acceptable, moral even, and people peacefully blocking the entrance to a building is grotesque, terrifying violence. How did we get here? It says, we live so far from real fear that we can tell ourselves scary stories about what mean protesters are going to do while we sanctioned unspeakable, dehumanizing violence against those outside the fence. It's because we're so detached. Let's read this. It says, I've lived here for 30 plus years and remember the first Iraq War in 91. The second Iraq War, Afghanistan, and countless U.S. military actions all over the world, Somalia, Syria, etc., all from the detached comfort of my TV and later internet. As long as we can sip our coffees and eat our donuts, pizza, and shop for holidays, all these conflicts are just violence inflicted on other people of worlds far away. We cried, we sympathized, but we never understood what our roles in the imperialist global hegemony, what our taxes were funding thousands of bases and posts abroad, and what that meant for the world. Now we know, and we should demand that no taxes go into any wars anywhere. We shall not be complicit in bombing civilians and children. It says the abstraction point is so real. Looking back in history to similar conflicts, you'll see people acting like it's a huge deal if 30 civilians were killed. How sick and disgusting of our status quo to literally spend resources trying to normalize this instead of address it. Pretty much made me a radical for life. This status quo has to be taken apart and built for regular working people. It says preservation of power is the root, not proximity to fear. Settler lies are in service to monopolizing violence and creating the conditions to escalate violent repression. It says have mercy. Another one that says we live in George Orwell's 1984. It says yes, this is so true. This madness, this must stop right now. It says, well, to be fair, he's saying that because he's at the top of the hierarchy as a white guy, but at least a bunch of folks are finally getting the clue. It says, and it seems like we are expendable and don't mean anything for our governments. We're all just slaves of the systems. Make them rich, pay them taxes to pay for their own interests. It says, laugh my ass off. I mean, look at the January 6th events. You got people acting like it was the end of the world. Couple more, we'll move on. It says, we will not forget, we will not forgive. From the river to the sea, Palestine will be free. It says, tell that to Jake Tapper and Abby Phillip, who showed disgust for protests in America while reluctantly reporting tragedies coming out of Gaza and the West Bank. One more. Yes, thank our Mr. White Christian man for telling American Jews how far they are from real fear. My elderly parents who had their synagogues defaced are going to sleep so much better at night now. I'm running out of steam and I gotta work all day tomorrow, so this is a cool story. It says, YouTuber Mr. Beast funded 100 wells with 52 in Kenya and the rest in other African countries. It says YouTuber Mr. Beast funded the drilling of 100 wells in several African countries, including 52 in Kenya. YouTuber Mr. Beast used his resources to fund the construction of 100 wells in various African countries, including 52 in Kenya, as well as others in Zimbabwe, Uganda, Somalia, Cameroon. He also provided computers and projectors to schools in Kenya. Furthermore, he contributed to the repair of a bridge, reuniting a long-divided community. His goal was to provide clean and safe water to villages, schools, and hospitals while building wells in several African countries. Mr. Beast used his platform to inspire others to do their part and make a difference. That's a cool story. It's got clips of him doing stuff. Pretty cool. Can't take nothing away from that. His videos are trash. I don't know why anybody watches any of that stuff or whatever. It says, in Japanese schools, the students don't get any exams until they reach the 4th grade. Why? Because the goal for the first 2 years of school is not to judge the child's knowledge or learning, but to establish good manners and develop character. The Japanese scholars teach manners before knowledge. Should this be implemented worldwide? Comments, it says, American schools have enough to do, but should we prioritize manners before knowledge in the early grades? Another one, it says, this only works there and in other Asian countries because the citizens value education. They send their children to school knowing what they're there to do, accepting no less. Disrespect to teachers is not acceptable. Accepted, therefore, it would not ever work in the United States. Yeah, I don't know. I don't like it when they say stuff like that. You know, it'll never work here. Whatever. Try it. See if it does. It says, when do parents teach good manners? Another comment says, I love this idea, but parents have to enforce manners at home too in order for this to work. It says, isn't it true that cleanliness is top notch? A friend was there as an educator and said the children helped clean the classrooms and empty the trash. It says, American teachers don't even know their gender, and you guys think they're going to teach kids about manners. Well, that's a helpful comment. Another comment says, but they also have families who value education and don't see the system as a free babysitter. Another one says, have you seen the disrespect and bad attitudes by kids in school today? Couldn't hurt to try something new because they were doing what we're doing isn't working. Most Asian parents are more strict and teach their children manners and respect early in life. It says this wouldn't work here. Teaching manners starts at home. The parents here don't have manners, so their offspring sure as hell don't. We got to start somewhere, yo. It says something American is truly devoid of manners. It says our schools are a little beyond bad manners. We need to restructure everything. Smartphones and social media are changing all the norms. It says, I bet parents respect teachers and work together with them and don't argue, not my baby, when teachers inform them of negative behaviors. Couple more. It says, I've seen this in action. They are the most moral and ethical society I've ever seen. Another one. I worked in a private education system for years. People would send their kiddos to us to fix them, but you cannot fix the kid and send them back to the environment that is not helpful in the process. It just doesn't work. Manners must start at home, period. Let's see. Do we want to do some couple more before I go? It's 1:30. I don't know. I think I'm gonna wrap it. I'm not feeling the best right now. Let's read this one. It says it's remarkable how many people believe themselves intellectual superior for repeating what authority tells them. It's also remarkable how school is structured to reward students for repeating what authority tells them. I wonder if there's a connection. Comment, it says, I'm a teacher. I tell my students that they may debate me and even prove me wrong with respect. I do tell them question everything. It says critical thinking is gone. It says, and if you simply repeat the teacher's words, you don't have to think. It says public school is where our kids learn to be stupid. It says, since the moment humans are born, they are taught what to believe, how to think, how to speak, what is normal, how to act. It starts at home. If you know about God, someone, usually your parents, put that in your mind. Love, hate, racism, drug use, alcohol consumption, diet, sex, any thought or behavior witnessed as a child is imprinted from an early age. It is the duty of parents to imprint their children with morals, principles, values, and acceptable behavior. As your child grows and until they are 18, your responsibility as a parent is to provide guidance and support for your child to filter and sort through the experiences they encounter inside and outside your home. Few parents raise their children anymore. They're too busy making sure their kids are popular and included, or parents are too busy still engaged in their own bad habits. Either way, if our youth are making bad decisions, listening to the wrong people, following the wrong crowd, not being told, taught, or shown the moral truths, the parents aren't doing their job first. If that makes you angry, then you're part of the problem. Clean your own house and be the adult. Stop letting trash clutter up the world your kids are growing up in. Then when they're adults, they'll be known by your example what's good and what isn't. Let me see. Do I have? Is this a video? Let me see. Is this a? No, this is an article. I don't feel like reading anymore. Did I share this? What is this? Let's go ahead and share this. Where's the sound? Okay.
Normalize that we just kind of accept that it is what it is. I'll go first. Health insurance. Can somebody please explain to me how much it costs to go to the doctor? How much does a bag of IV fluid cost? How much does a bandage cost? If I have to stay overnight, how much is that stay going to cost me? Story time. So I recently had to go to the doctor, and I went to the doctor, did my thing, got my bill through my health insurance, and it was astronomical. They didn't cover much of anything. In fact, we have a high deductible plan. So I'm not only am I paying my health insurance premiums every paycheck, but I have to hit a certain level of deductible, which for ours is like $8,000, for us to have any sort of coverage. Fast forward a couple months, and I had to go to the doctor again. But because I was so fed up with the other situation, I decided that I didn't want insurance through my company anymore. I would just buy my own insurance. I went to the doctor for roughly the same thing. Same doctor, same everything, different health insurance. But I didn't have my card, and I couldn't get everything that I needed. I said, just bill it to me. What's the cash pay price? Because I was willing to pay it that day, I walked out there paying less than $500 for something that they charged me almost $4,000 for last time. What is a scam that's become so normalized that we just kind of accept that it is what it is? I'll go first. Health insurance. Can somebody please explain to me how much it costs to go to the doctor? How much does a bag of IV fluid?
Yeah, man, our healthcare system is a scam. It's a complete scam. And we are cheering this shit on. We act like we got the best system in the world. They're like, we got the best doctors, we got the best equipment or whatever. Well, nobody can afford that shit. Only the top percentage of us can even use that stuff. So it's not even fucking, it's pointless. I mean, if you can't access it, if most people can't access it, then it's like we might as well not even have it. I don't know, man. Whenever I get into the healthcare argument, everybody just gets mad at me. So Medicare for all, y'all. Single payer. I think I'm gonna wrap it.
Administration is literally steps away from regulating all internet service providers and taking over all internet infrastructure across the United States.
Brendan Carr is calling the Biden administration's digital equality plan for all internet services and infrastructure an awful power grab. He said President Biden's plan hands the administrative state effective control of all internet services and infrastructure in the country. Carr went on to say the Biden administration's plan empowers the FCC to regulate every aspect of the internet sector for the first time ever.
So let's verify this for ourselves right off the Federal Communication Commission website, right off the government's website. And this is astounding because this is the head of the FCC himself right there. Carr opposes Biden's plan. As always, this is in my sources, so you can check it out and read it for yourself. President Biden's plan sweeps entire industries within the FCC's jurisdiction for the first time in the agency's 90-year history. President Biden's plan allows the FCC to impose unfunded build mandates on ISPs and unlimited monetary fines on every covered entity.
The final vote for this is happening pretty much immediately. Next Wednesday, November 15th, the FCC is having their final vote. And if it wasn't for the Commissioner Brendan Carr, we probably never would have heard about it. And I bet they didn't talk about this on your 5 o'clock news. Well, let me bring you up to speed. Folks, while everybody's focused on what's happening in Israel and Gaza, I'm going to bring your attention to a major story happening this week that nobody seems to be covering. The Biden administration is literally steps away from regulating all internet service providers and taking over all internet infrastructure across the United States.
Brendan Carr is calling the Biden administration's digital equality plan for all internet services and infrastructure an awful power grab. He said President Biden's plan hands the administrative state effective control of all internet services and infrastructure in the country. Carr went on to say the Biden administration's plan empowers the FCC to regulate every aspect of the internet sector for the first time ever.
So let's verify.
I don't know. This might just be like, hey, regulation is good. I mean, I don't like to say anything that Biden is doing is good, but, I'd have to know more about this. I mean, like, alarmist stuff is what this seems to me, regulation is needed, If we want to talk about freedom of speech, then they're censoring everybody. And everything that people are saying, especially the stuff on Israel, Palestine situation. Do I have a clip on that? I have a clip about Israel said, ask Meta to censor posts related to Israel, Palestine. And they obliged and deleted 95% of the stuff that they asked them to delete. Let me see, do I have that? I don't see it. I don't see it. Oh, here it is right here. Boom, let's go to this. So if you want to talk about freedom of speech, it says Israel asked Meta and TikTok to remove 8,000 posts related to the Gaza invasion. 94% of content has been removed. Not sure. Comment, it says, has content been removed from Instagram? Okay, let's post and share 10 times as much as before. For the people who care, they'll appreciate it. For the ones who don't, get annoyed and go. Bye-bye to non-supporters. Just goes to show how much of an impact we're all having. Let's wrap this up. We won't stop until Palestine is free. It says Israel will never defeat a country protected by Allah. It says free Palestine from river to sea. It says they know they are losing, so they are doing their best to avoid atrocities reaching everyone. It says while the Nazis worried about the media, you wonder why now. It says Israel is trying to remove documentation of their genocidal actions in real time. The world will remember their actions. The world will remember who stood with the genocidal regime. It says keep postings, let them work overtime and burn out. This is the resistance of the digital war. It says that is why we must save our posts and stories. The truth hurts, right? But we all will never forget those pictures. It says, well, I saw enough to never forget. It says, we will not be silent. It says, I keep getting shadow banned on my posts and some have been deleted and removed. It says, can't remove it from my memories, and we've all screen recorded and passed it on for awareness. We're awake and fully charged now. Free Palestine. It says, we will keep posting and we will remind people when they look the other way or blind eye like all the politicians. Power to the people. Yeah, if you want to talk about censorship, then this is what it is right here. They censored Rashida Tlaib's in Congress. Yeah, man. I don't want to create lazy content for y'all, so I'm going to get out of here. Peace and love. Thank y'all for listening. Thank y'all for joining. I'm out.